So, this movie only got made as an explanation for why there was a big plot hole in a previous installment. Hello everyone! Today I'm taking a look at Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Now in case you don't know, Rogue One, a Star Wars story was made as an explanation for a plot hole in A New Hope. Because this movie takes place about 2 days before A New Hope, give or take, and explains how the rebels got the plans to the Death Star, and also how we find out that the weakness in the Death Star that was a plot hole for so many years was not an accident, it was on purpose. And yeah, it actually makes A New Hope better since it fixes that plot hole. So, there we go. Now, before I get into my negatives or my positives for the movie, let's talk about one thing. Darth Vader. Now, I'll get onto the Darth Vader scene later on in this review, but I just want to talk about the Darth Vader thing that people complained about. The fact that he doesn't have much screen time in this movie. Personally, I wasn't bothered by it, especially when you consider the fact that his final scene in this movie is outstanding. But when you really take into account what's going on in the film, it kind of makes sense why Darth Vader isn't in very much, seeing how in the movie, the Rogue One group is a small band of rebels at the start of the movie, so it makes sense why people like Director Krennic are after them. But at the end of the movie, when, they get the Death Star plans, it makes sense for why Darth Vader would go after them, seeing how he's like the big guns. They're sending in the big guns, aka Darth Vader, to get the plans back. So yeah, I wasn't really bothered by Darth Vader's lack of screen time in the movie. Anyway, let's go into the real problems of the movie. First off, the pacing in the first act. It was not very good, especially when you consider the fact that it was like jumping from one planet to another planet to another planet. It felt like I pressed the speed button on my remote controller, on my remote. Like, seriously, not very good. And it could literally cut to Darth Vader taking a shower, and it would probably fit in as well. So, yeah. And also, there's a fan service moment that I get there's supposed to be like a fan service reference, where they have that guy from A New Hope saying, "I don't like you either." And it just comes off as forced fan service to me. Look, I get it's supposed to be a reference, but it just comes off as force. And, yeah. And also, Cassian and Rook, two of the main characters in the movie, of the Rogue One crew, aren't very interesting. And I'm not interested in Cassian's new Disney Plus show that he's getting later down the ride. I'm only interested in that show because of K2SO, and yeah. And there are some jokes in the movie that don't really work, and yeah. But let's talk about my positives of the movie. First off, the characters. I really like the characters in this movie, especially K2SO and Chirrut Ue. Chirrut was hilarious in this movie. I really like his whole, he's a blind warrior thing, and also he has some funny moments where he, puts his staff on a stormtrooper's foot and says, "Is your foot alright?" And, beats the crap out of the stormtroopers. Imagine what happened if he had his own solo movie where he was a Jedi. I'm not even joking. And there's even a joke in the movie that reminds me of this moment from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
I don't know! I mean, seriously, what's with you people? I'm blind!
Yeah, I really like Chirrut in this movie. And also, there's K2SO, who is basically C-3PO if you made him into awesomeness. Seriously, K2SO is funny and pretty awesome. He kills a lot of stormtroopers in this movie. He even, chucks a grenade back around, and he kills, 10 stormtroopers. That's pretty cool, and he has a lot of funny jokes in the movie. There's Baze, the warrior who works with Chirrut as a guardian of Will and Jedha, who is kind of cool at the end of the movie. And there's Jyn Erso, the main character of the film, who is the daughter of Galen Erso, the person who made the trap in the Death Star, who is kind of a fine character on her own. But, yeah, she does nothing special in my opinion. She's good when she interacts with the characters like K2SO, but not so good when she interacts with Cassian. When she's with Saw Gerrera and Galen Erso, that's where the movie's really good for her, in my opinion, but still. And also, the action scenes in this movie are amazing. They feel like a war movie in a lot of ways. The way it's shot and the way it's edited, it truly feels like a World War II movie set in Star Wars. And also, the space battle is fantastic, especially when they're like crashing all these different ships in order to destroy the planet, in order to destroy like these gateway to the planet, so that way they can get the message from the Death Star, which is pretty cool. And I even like the main villain of the movie, what's his name again? His name is like Tarkin. No. His name is Director Krennic. And he's a pretty funny villain, especially when he goes all over the top in the movie, which is really funny. And also, I forgot to mention this, but there is one other thing that I do have a problem with when it comes to like the whole Vader thing. When he interacts with Director Krennic, there's a part in the film where I swear it's not supposed to be funny, but it feels unintentionally hilarious, where Vader says, "Be sure not to choke on your aspirations, Director Krennic." Is that supposed to be like unintentionally funny? Because it was. But yeah. And also, there's not much to this movie. It's just a good film. And yeah, and also, we gotta talk about this. The Darth Vader battle. It is truly outstanding. It is so well done. It feels like a horror movie in a lot of ways. Like, I remember when I saw this movie in the theater, my body was frozen when I saw Darth Vader walk through that hallway with his lightsaber and murdering all of these rebel soldiers like it was nothing. He was just... It felt like a slasher movie. Screw Michael Myers, screw Jason Voorhees, screw Freddy Krueger. Vader is now the official king of slasher movie villains. Seriously, that fight was brutal and awesome at the same time. And also, they have Tarkin in this movie, and I'll fully admit, if I didn't know Peter Cushing was dead, then I'd be like, wait, they got Peter Cushing for this movie? That's pretty cool. The CGI looks perfect, and it really looks like Peter Cushing. And also, I like the AT-AT walkers. They feel larger than life in this movie, and they actually kind of feel intimidating. And I didn't expect them to kill off all the main characters in the movie. I was expecting at least one of them to survive, but not all of them. Like, seriously, they just murdered all of them, and they killed off my two favorites. First, they killed off K2SO, and then they killed Chirrut. Why do you do this to me, Star Wars? But still. Overall, in terms of the Disney Star Wars movies, I'd say it's better than Solo, but it's not as good as Force Awakens, and it's not as good as The Last Jedi. Anywho, overall, I would give Rogue One: A Star Wars Story an 8 out of 10. It's pretty good, though it is the second best Star Wars prequel movie behind Revenge of the Sith, but that's not saying much. Well, we finally have all the prequel movies done. Next time we meet, we'll be taking a look at A New Hope. See you all later, and bye.